Hello, dear nanobackers, and we are back with the next video update. And today we have the wonderful Augustín Graham Nakamura with us for doing an interview about all the comic illustration stuff. So, hello, August.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm fine. Pretty hot here in São Paulo, actually.
Wow, that's awesome. Here's the summer already getting to an end, so I already have to wear the pullover, like the sweatshirt. But at least I've got another sweatshirt, so it's half as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so today we have a lot of questions for you, because actually I think nobody can really imagine how it is working as a comic illustrator, and we thought the community would be really interested in how you work, what you're doing, and how your day is structured. But at first I really would love to know, how did you came into doing what you're doing? I mean, an artistic biography is also often very, there are a lot of differences and a lot of strange ways which one goes. So how did you become what you are, like a professional comic illustrator?
Okay, I was born many years ago. No.
You always have to start with your grandmother. Like, this is what Günter Grass says. Always
Okay.
2 generations.
Shortly, yes, I was born in the Patagonia, the southern part of this planet, many years ago. And I used to make comics for myself as a kid, but I actually started working professionally at a pretty early age of 20 years for advertising companies and film and for the film industry in Buenos Aires. Making storyboards, concept art,
Great,
all that kind of stuff. And
why did you do this? Had you connections even in this early age? Had you friends working there, or your parents, or?
I needed to pay rent.
Yes,
I had to pay my bills. So a few connections, yes, but it's very common for comic artists to work in the advertising, making storyboards or concept art illustrations for bigger productions. Actually, none of this work is published ever, but it's super important in the pipeline of a production, such as a film or commercial. But a few years later, I think it was 2004, I went to Japan and studied animation direction and manga, a little bit of manga. And when I came back, since then, I worked for directing short films, published my own comic books. I worked for many, different industries, such as video games, making concept art, character design. I made, covers for comics, for books, editorial design, set design, graphic design. I made many things. Almost every application of the drawings for a production.
So cool. And how long did you stay in Japan? So how was your time there, and how many years did you stay there?
It was only 1 year. It was a scholarship for one year.
Oh, cool. And how does this work? I mean, can you get really into the hang? Can you get the hang of things like in Japan in 1 year? I think it's really overwhelming to get all this the stuff which is going on there. I mean, it must be immense. So an incredible dense infrastructure of artists and productions and stuff which is going on. So I think this 1 year can be a year full of experiences. Or how would you say it? Or was it just a normal year for you?
Actually, I'm Japanese. I'm half Japanese. My mother is Japanese, and my father is Argentinian, but Irish, Irish descent.
That's why you Graham.
Graham, Nakamura. Born in Argentina, living in Brazil. So,
and study in Japan.
But I went before to Japan, and also I went after to Japan after this trip. So it was not such a big, cultural shock for me, because, being Japanese, you are used to many things. But it's a super intense experience. Everybody should go to Japan once in the lifetime. It's so different. People is so nice. It's a great country for holidays.
It is
vacations.
Cool.
Did you meet any mangaka that we know in the west side of the world? Any famous Akira Toriyama or something like that? You meet anyone that is famous?
the thing with mangakas in Japan is that they are like celebrities. It's like trying to approach Lady Gaga. Forget it. It's almost impossible.
Okay.
But I met a lot of animation directors, some mangakas also, perhaps not so well known here in the West. But I met a bunch. Yes.
Cool.
Right.
And as you like work like in every part of the field of the artistic field in which illustrations are needed, which kind of working did you enjoy most? Is it comics, like which you're doing now the most, or is there also other parts which you did enjoy immensely, or how would you say it is?
I think I actually came here because of comics. I drew my own comics since age 8 or something.
Yeah.
And actually, transitioning to advertising for storyboard is actually visual storytelling, so it's not so different. But I think I really enjoy working in the film industry, and animation.
Mm-hmm.
All this planning of things that are not ready, created. You need to pre-visualize, create all this world that is going to be, on film with actors at the end, or perhaps it's an animation that could take 10 years to be made.
Like this,
super.
Building up the world from scratch, like developing everything which is inside the world, from every aesthetic of the architecture to the ecosystem to everything. Like,
creating this world.
Yes, and I was very impressed when you work on his. Everybody can watch our Nanolive story teaser, and you will see it's made by Nakamura, and it was for me it was very cool to see the deployment. So first we get some sketches just with pictures, and the next step you added music and all of and every time there comes a new video and there was a new level of deployment on it, and there was the first animations and they were really rough, and then come the second, and it was like you working on layers on that, and it was really cool to see how that works.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And I could really imagine like to do this for years until it is produced, like everything animated, everything like with different perspectives, and so I really saw the process of what's happening there.
I think the problem is you need to be patient because everything is like super like baby steps. The bigger the project, more planning, planification you need to develop actually, because it's a bigger risk, it's a bigger, more years, so yeah. But I really enjoyed those stages of any production.
Yeah, this was something which was also coming up when I thought about questions for you. There was this time when we were like discussing which kind of style we want for the Nanolith comics. Yeah, you remember when I sent you like my dearest manga is Blame, and I did send you a few of those pictures, and Max was giving in, I think, the Metal Gear Solid inspiration, and you were giving back these Blade Runner things. So how do you come to choose a style for comics and for stories? I mean, you know a lot of different styles, I think. So why did you choose this style, and how does it come to this decision?
I don't think it was my decision. Actually, I thought, you guys have a pretty good, clear idea of what you wanted to do, what you wanted to achieve, a clear vision. I mean, obviously we have a lot of artists before me, in this same project, creating characters, making comics, making many different stages of the visual development of this project. So actually, probably you guys told me you wanted to make something that was a mix of manga and anime, because of the colors. Actually, this is my first comic book project in colors.
Oh, that's so cool!
Oh, that's
really,
great.
I didn't know this. That's so cool to hear.
Yeah. That was appealing to me, because it was a challenge. What was the question again?
Sorry. How
you find the style? How you get this style for the comic?
Because we were really
It was yes. Actually, it's realization of your vision. Actually, I think so.
Yeah,
you
totally.
know,
This is something which I feel always very strongly. I mean, when I do the storyboard, I always envision something, but it's not so like totally clear. It's more like a very I have an idea, but I don't have like the colors for everything and stuff. And when your picture comes back, it's such a nice adaptation of what I was writing. Like it's really, I have the feeling there's this coming to life, which I already wanted to see. And this is something about which I'm like, how do you say this? I'm not wondering about it, but I'm always a bit astonished that it's so close and that it's so exactly what I want to see. And this is, yeah, it's really surprising how this process works.
But I have sometimes like storyboard goes to Nakamura. Nakamura makes something, and then there comes a question, and Nakamura say, "Hey Max, how this weapon looks from the front?"
Yeah.
I say, I don't know. I
know?
just have one picture. Okay. And from the back, I don't know. And then you say, oh, okay, never mind. I will find something. Or something like we have this with the comic of the second chapter that was that you draw the comics and then you say, Max, I understand, right? There's no atmosphere. I say yes. And you say, oh man, it doesn't work. The men don't have a helm on it on the first picture. Yeah, they're unhelmet, and you say, "Oh, we give them helmet," and then we talk about what kind of helmet, because in the next scene we show the faces. So goes the face the helm off like that, or you put it off, and all of these details we never think about that.
Yeah,
so these details come in the work with you, and that's some kind of a. I enjoy all of them. It's so many questions.
To find the logic of the story.
Yes,
I think it has to be coherent in a way.
Yeah, there's a lot of details which are coming up, and if you solve them correctly, it makes much more sense. Yeah, so this is something which is really cool. So what would you say now after working on the first few comics? Is it a big deal to do everything in color? I mean, I watched the your drawing live video, which we'll also link in this update, so you can see like how this process is working live as it was streamed. Is it a big effort, or how do you? What's the difference from color to black and white?
Actually, when you work in let's say traditional comic manga, you need to think in the in terms of the lines, textures, the composition, the balance of black and white. When you work in comic, the approach is completely different, because you need to have just a basic outline of the figures and characters, and then you need to balance with tons of color. Like warm colors, cool colors, and I think in the approach I made for this particular comic, I tried not to make super detailed line art, because this is not a manga colored. Mm-hmm. These are illustrations. It's different. You make all the volumetric effects. The colors of everything is different. Mm-hmm. You don't draw that with lines. No, you make it with color.
Yeah,
and shading.
I saw this. There's a lot of different masks like lapping over each other, and you're like giving the different colors for these masks.
Because normally in a manga you draw the volumetric effect of things. Mm-hmm. When you work with color, no, you need to paint that. So it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. But there's also like a lot of refining in the end, isn't it? I mean, to get it like really smooth, you have to have a lot of masks, or it's just a very intelligent program which is doing this. I mean, I don't know, because from this streaming video to the finished product, there's such a big step up. I can't imagine all these levels in between. I think there are a lot. That's just all I think, but I don't know.
Everything is planning. First, we make this kind of storyboard or something like that layout that I send you guys. It's just a rough pre-visualization. Yeah. Then we make the line art. Then we make the base color. Then we make the shading, and then we make the final details. So everything is like in different stages.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
In the production.
So cool. So then comes up the next question, which is really important, because as we are like unlocking one stretch goal after the other, I don't know whether you looked at the campaign page. A lot of those stretch goals are comics for you. I mean, we were like packing a lot of comics which we all wish to have in the game into the stretch goals as well, and people are unlocking them, and are really happy to have them in the future. But do you have the possibilities to work for us so much in the next half a year or next year? Is this even possible from your standpoint?
Yeah. It's going to be much more expensive. That's the only problem. But
yeah,
now that you guys are successful, famous comic designers and producers, yes, it's going to be much more expensive.
Mark, I told you we have to pay him before. I told you we have to pay him before.
No. For my for the kind of clients I normally work, every work is for yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like that. So it's for yesterday. They'll call you. It's for yesterday. So no. It's okay. It's a lot. I think the work we are making is more elaborated because it has to look, much
more polished.
Yeah, much more detailed. We need to, show an atmosphere of this world. And for the advertising, it's super simple. It's much more faster, not so detailed, because this is final work that's going to be actually published. But times are fine. Times are fine.
Perfect. That's so good to hear.
I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it working. Yeah.
Max, do you have a specific question, or I could come up with the next one?
I think we have to question what was your I forget the question.
I have a list here, but
I have also another question in my head. What I wanted to ask you is
no. You guys send me a list.
Yeah, but you know how this works.
You're not following the
list. No one wants to cling to a list. What I really wanted to ask is, do you have like something must have drawn you into comic illustration, and what kind of comics have this been? So, which are your favorite things, or the favorite illustrators, which are like idols for you, or where you orientate?
Let me see here. I don't have a particular,
the one and only
idol.
Yeah.
I think comic books. I think Akira, Ghost in the Shell, and Blame are pretty good examples of my favorite comics.
Oh yeah.
I grew up. I was raised in a mixture of European comics and manga. Much later on, I began, reading some American comics, just a few. But I think my idols are more in the line of, the directors of film directors, actually, and animation directors. I grew up watching.
Yeah. Tell us which one, for example.
That has to do with the kind of work I like. I like much more comics that are I think more they follow a cinematic style of storytelling. Probably that's because I grew up watching. I'm a kid from the 80s, so I grew up watching films from James Cameron, McTiernan, Verhoeven. I don't know. And many of the other, for example, Kubrick. I love Kubrick, Stanley Kubrick.
Yes. Totally fantastic.
Spielberg, I'm a kid from the 80s again. And from Japan, obviously, Kurosawa. Then we have Hayao Miyazaki in animation.
Yeah.
Mamoru Oshii, Katsuhiro Otomo.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I get it. Correct. So really the best from the pop culture.
Yeah, the best. But that kind of cinematic drawing, I think we talk about that in one of our first meetings. That in this meeting we are try to figure it out how the style of the Nanolith comics can be, and then you told about that. What kind of style you want? You want a cinematic style, or you want a style more based on the story, more like, I don't know, you give some example, like a lot of text. I think like Death Note for me. So Death Note, it's based on story. There's no cinematic in it's a book with pictures, not a manga. So, but that's a good question. Yeah, and
I think
how you think you put this cinematic style into the Nanolive comics?
Yeah,
Totally. I mean, especially now the second chapter.
Yeah, we talk about, you know, trying to make, you know, that these comic chapters have to be like watching a trailer, like watching like a teaser or a cutscenes of a film or animation, because the universe, Nanolive universe, is so rich. I think that in terms of comics in general, I enjoy more the comics that have greater, you know, or storytelling, visual storytelling, than, you know, written storytelling. You know, many comic projects tend to be too cerebral. You know, what is written, how the characters talk, and we must not forget that comics are a visual medium. You know, even people that read a lot of comics, they normally first they watch the drawings, you know, the pages, and then afterwards they read the comic. So I enjoyed more the comics that have a strong visual storytelling, because I always think that the reader must understand what is going on, even without reading the dialogues.
Yeah, totally. This was something with which I was totally amazed when I read the Blame comic for the manga for the first time, as all these architectural things are like, these are not just places. This is the story happening. People walking there, people falling there, like seeing it without any words. Yeah, this was something which I really enjoyed now when we did the new storyboards, that I could really imagine stuff happening and I don't need to like write it out or have people talk about it. I just tell you and you visualize it. This is so immediate. It's just a strength of the medium, and we shouldn't like get into long novels which are illustrated, and stay with this approach. And even if you have like this, let's say, a bit more thematic or poetic pictures in between, this is also a strength of the comic, and it's not text based so much. What would you say is like the best and the worst thing about your job as an illustrator? I mean, do you have things which you really like about it, and also things which you really don't like? So what would you say is the
I think I'm a freelancer. I never worked for a, you know, for hire. I mean, in like an employee in the company. So I'm my own boss. That's great. And bad at the same time.
That's good.
Terrible. You know, you need to be super disciplined to avoid, you know, procrastination, because you can, if you want, you can spend the whole week, you know, playing a video game or whatever. You know, reading comic books and not making anything. But that's dangerous. That's one of the, you need to be super, you know, organized
and focused on the things you're doing. For me, it's mostly like just taking the jobs for which I really want to do. Like this is a thing with which I come up because if I really want to do it, I will have the time for it. Otherwise, I will just like push it away from myself for weeks or months even. So yeah, you feel
I think the best thing is, since I'm not employed in a specific, you know, company or industry, I can jump between different varieties of projects from many different, you know, video game, RPGs, cyberpunk board games, and you know, animation, films, advertising, making my own comic books, you know, working for comic books for other people. So that's nice. The worst thing about this being a freelancer and this particular line of work is that we don't have working schedule. I mean, not from my side, from the people that employ us. So forget about weekends, holidays, vacations. You know, your dead cat, you know, being sick, you know, for whatever, corona or whatever it is, losing your girlfriend, you know, forget it. You need to work every day. Actually, you need to work when it's necessary.
Totally get
you know,
this.
it's a way of life
It's
that
a
we
way
can
of
totally
life.
understand.
Yeah, it's the way of the artist. I mean, it's really what we also chose for our lives. But yeah, totally. And then
But
just
it's the only. I think it's the only thing to be. For me, it's the only thing to be. Feel like a human.
yeah, it's for me also the most human thing to do.
Yes.
And as I'm not a Zoom like pro user, we only have like 7 minutes left. So let's come to the last question.
Oh!
You can make a new meeting.
Yeah,
meeting,
we could make a new, but I mean, this is nice and short. Let's just talk a little bit about the future. I mean, what kind of projects are coming up? What are you wishing for? What is like something you're really looking forward to? Just a little look at the future.
With Nanolith, you mean?
With Nanolith or with you or with your work, whatever you want to talk about, what is like coming up.
Maybe you have a new comic in the pipeline you want to tell us or something like that.
Yeah, I have my own, comic projects, but they take a long time to produce because I produce them in my free time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, I have actually I have in development a new graphic novel. This is actually Nanolith is a great training for this project because this is going to be my first full graphic novel in colors.
Wow,
so
cool.
That's
cool.
For me, it was ideal to have this this project before.
And what is the theme? What's it about?
It's cyberpunk, inspired by by many films from the 80s, like Blade Runner. What else? Many things. It's a mixture, a mix of many things. It's going to be my first cyberpunk project.
Awesome. It calls Nakamura lead.
It's called Nanolith.
Okay, so
and then
cool.
you
Nanolito.
Nanolito, and when everybody talk, you say, "I don't know about this other project called Nanolith. I never heard about that."
So cool.
Great.
We have to get a Portuguese translation for Nanolith as well to get it like out in Brazil.
That's very cool.
Nanorito.
Oder burrito.
Yeah, okay. So
I have a last question. Maybe
go ahead.
You said when I was broken, when I lost contact. So what is your favorite aspect on Nanolith?
I think it's the mixture of cyberpunk, action, mystery, fantasy. I think I told you before, I think the idea of Nanolith, the vision of Nanolith of this universe is super fun, it's bright, it's colorful. Then you have mystery, then you have this this element of not terror.
But a little bit horror is inside there as well. Yeah.
And I love that. It's super I think it's optimistic universe. It's not like super, I don't know, gloomy or pessimistic or militaristic or whatever. I like that.
It's a very dystopian future, but there's a lot of like positive stuff which is coming up as well. So you can have also a very optimistic standpoint. Yeah.
Yes, and I think always we have all of these crazy things there, but it feels, I don't know, it feels like something that can really happen. So, and that's for me a strong vision in this.
And it's a story about heroism and about like fighting the evil and like bringing the good incarnation of the world back. So it's really in this way it's really optimistic. Okay, so the meeting ends in 3 minutes 50 seconds. So
then you have a question to us.
Yes, if you have any question for August, just write it in the comments.
August have a question for us.
Okay, maybe sure.
What's your favorite beer?
Beer. What's my favorite beer?
Ever.
That's the best question ever. So
Heineken.
No,
Heineken,
my God.
But wait,
as long they have alcohol, I totally agree with that.
No. Right now I'm living like in the beer paradise of Germany, like in Oberfranken. Yeah, it's like in the southern part of Germany, but it has a lot of breweries. And best beer is Mannsbräu from Bayreuth. It's really good. Dark beer especially is like very, very good. Soft, good choice, Mannsbräu. So, Okay,
guys.
Yeah.
On a final note, you guys are. I told you before. You guys are a super cool bunch and visionary, and creative people, and I really enjoy working with you. I told you, Max, before. Yeah, actually, you guys are some of the nicest people I ever had the chance to work with. So keep it up.
Yeah, and we will keep up that in the future, my friend. So our journey don't end with production one game.
There is a lot of stuff
just the beginning.
Oh yeah, I think that as well. Okay, people, so let's close this meeting. Thank you so much, August, for your time. This was really a nice chat. And however, if you have any questions, just post below the update. I would really be glad to ask August even more questions on Messenger. We will see what comes up next. So thank you very much, and bye from Mark.
And from Max. And
ciao, ciao.
Nakamura. Ciao, ciao.
Good night.
Good night.